I just soup it up and it's ready to go. In this game, lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
Hello and welcome. My name's Jay, and with me today is my good old friend, Alexander Gonzalez.
Hello, I'm getting older.
And with us today is a very special guest, Nick Blain, also known as ShotgunMcpayne from the YouTube channel, ShotgunMcpayne. How are you doing today, Nick?
Thank you. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah,
especially for guesting on this show, appreciate having a fun, creative times with some friends.
Let me tell you, somewhere during that entire conversation, I was like, we have to just.
Right. Oh, I saw you. You're just like, man, we went so long.
Oh, yeah. Now that we're talking about Pokemon, now that you're letting me open up.
I had an instinct and I didn't want to go through it where you're like, okay, this isn't that important compared to The Last of Us, but let me talk about Pokemon. And I thought about just cutting you off there.
I would have laughed my ass off. That would have been hilarious.
But how you guys doing today besides all that talk? Shoot, what was I going to say?
I almost want to do another intro.
Are you doing this again to me? Are you doing this again?
Well, I guess I just lost my train of thought, but those are not the thoughts that we're talking about today. Today, we are creating something new. Every week, We Are Not Game Devs will create a new, exciting video game idea that we have always wanted to play, but do not have any knowledge or know-how to create the wonderful experience that are video games. Today is kind of my turn to present We Are Not Game Dev's 109th IP. We're gonna do things a little bit differently here. Nick, I'm gonna pitch you two general ideas. Let me know which one of these two sound better. Would you rather talk about
an investor?
Yeah,
like
right.
An executive.
Number one, we have a third person or first person. We have a shooter RPG. Number two, we have kind of like a free run, open city type of game with booster packs. Which sounds more fun to you?
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I think a Pokemon game sounds better. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna do the I don't know. We have it. Me personally, I want the third person RPG because that sounds amazing, but there are so many of them. I'm going to go with the fresh new idea.
All right.
We're going to go down this rabbit hole.
So what I have for you, I actually thought about this one today is how fresh this one is. I was just walking around downtown LA and I was looking around all the buildings and I was just getting kind of tired because it's hot out there. And I was like, man, and I've thought about this a lot. Especially ever since I played the Assassin's Creed games for the first time, I've always thought, wouldn't it be cool just to zip around the city? So the idea is kind of like Spider-Man. You have these wrist things. You're a techie nerd kid who kind of likes tech, and you invent this new booster pack that go onto your arms, and they kind of let you boost around town, kind of like on rollerblades, maybe foot something on your feet to make you scoot around. And the main boosting mechanic is to get around building corners and sharp alleyways, and you'll use each arm, maybe it could be on the triggers on the controller, to make you boost around these corners.
So
right
when you were talking about booster packs, I can't get away from this idea.
Yeah.
I want it to be where
cards?
You generate cards and the cards have different power-ups, and then later on in the game you can combine different cards to combine power-ups. I'm sorry, but that's where my mind went.
We could.
My mind went to booster packs, but it did not go that far. That is creative.
We could add that to the game because it's not that set in stone. Where you could maybe find these cards and kind of like Mega Man. What's the weird turn-based
Battle Network?
Battle Network, where you could
Battle Network.
add cards.
I got Battle Network statues up.
Dude, it's such a good game.
Yeah. So maybe the idea is you could find these cards around and you could insert them in, and then they'll add different effects to your powers, kind of like how Infamous Second Son did it.
And then we could also do kind of a loot system where when you beat enemies or special bosses will have special cards that you can now incorporate into your deck of sorts.
Okay. I know you said that, Alex, but we could go in that direction. But another direction I had was this was a strictly almost no combat game.
Okay. So we're like a Mirror's Edge.
Yeah, my idea for it was you're gonna be zooming around the city. It's gonna kind of have like a Watch Dogs feel where you have like a group of kids that also have these. Maybe you built them for your friends and you kind of all boost around the city like this. And then the idea is the hoodlums of the city, like the dudes that are just out and about and don't like what you're doing. They'll like start chasing after you. And like a lot of the gameplay is like you trying to get away from them. And it's going to have that like GTA wanted level mechanic to it where you're just trying to get away. But
there's definitely going to be security guards and cops too then, right? Like you're going to have to go into like, let's say if you're going into an area controlled by like more youth that are into crime and stuff who have taken that over. Like if you're going down alleys, I think they chase you. But if you're like you're going past like a downtown area, there's going to be security guards for sure, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Like maybe, so I don't know where the story is going with all this, because I imagine this is just a fun thing you and a group of friends decide to start doing, and then eventually you guys get in more trouble, and then maybe eventually something happens where it's
hierarchy. I like that. Like there's like an anger, not anger, a hierarchy, a rebellion against the hierarchy of
maybe
it all,
something
like
that.
Skate or die sort of thing. I want to throw in. Do we want to like for the wanted level to have tricks, and as you do better tricks and get more notoriety with the rebellion stops the security guards from coming after you. That's the headcanon of you're getting more followers basically, and they're like getting you unwanted.
That'd be cool if like the public kind of stepped in, or they would do certain things to like slow them down. Like after maybe you pass them, they throw over a trash can or something in the way.
Right.
How about this? So we'll take a heavy inspiration from like Watch Dogs, where like you're starting to build like a community of people that kind of want to join you on this, like I don't know, like extreme sport takeover thing, where like maybe you start building more and more of these things for other people who want them, and then eventually you can like kind of summon them, like how you can in like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, like summon your brothers to help you out with certain things. So instead of having like that Watch Dogs hack mechanic and to make cars like swerve or like bring up the stop things to make cars stop, you could like summon a group of your booster friends to come out and like block the road or whatnot. And I do also imagine there's a heavy parkour element where you're going, it's not just around streets and around corners and alleyways. Eventually, maybe if you get certain cards that we were talking about, you could like boost up walls and start like going up into like vertical
grinding
spaces.
On some rails.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm thinking
like,
here is the dark, kind of the darker, seedier people are now working with the security guards and police. Like they paid them off in order so that they can maybe traffic something. I don't know if you could say drugs, or maybe it could be like unfunctional, maybe more of these tools that you're giving out. But maybe these do something like maybe they track their person's whereabouts, they give out information, and maybe they steal all that stuff. And they're using that to profit. And maybe they steal identity as well. And you find out about this with your friends. Like you guys are just kind of a brink crew. You guys love just doing this rollerblading thing. And then you find out, and now you're escaping them and end up in a bigger situation where you end up having to go and reveal them to somebody else. But every time you go to an authority, you find out they're corrupt too. So you're kind of going all the way up the ladder.
I think we start with like a very lighthearted 90s vibe. Like we are rollerbladers or boosters. I'm going to say they're boosters. And the security guards are so oppressive, and they're just, their sole mission is to make boosting much more appreciated in the community. But when then they find out that there's this, as they go on, it gets a little bit darker. It gets a little bit more like opens up to their minds. It opens up their minds to like, oh, like this isn't just rollerblading that they're oppressing. This is a lot of things that they're oppressing.
How do you like this? Also a twist that we could add in is when, so yeah, at first you're just a group of friends that are just doing this for fun. And then eventually just random dudes in the street will like mock you for doing it and try to get you, and then like security guards and police officers or whatnot also try to stop you eventually as the game goes on. And what you notice is eventually they start having similar technologies that you as the main character, you're the mind behind all of this, and you created all of it for fun. But then as you gain more and more people who want it and you sell it off, you find out that, oh, these guys are starting to get similar tech. Where are they getting it from? And like maybe the twist is like your best friend that kind of was the one pushing you to do it, he's selling this technology off to like some higher up that's the main bad or whatever in this game, and they start developing it in their own way and maybe make like warrior mech suits, like,
and they start putting
like
malware in for the public or something where they can be charged. They can turn it off if they try to run away, stuff of that
like hack
nature.
it or something and like turn it against you. Or
I definitely get like a Jet Set Radio meets Watch Dogs vibes.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Jet Set Radio is a perfect way to describe kind of what you're doing, and Watch Dogs also with like some mechanics of Watch Dogs, but then also the corporate takeover kind of feel to the story to it.
There's a rollerblading anime out there too that's kind of giving me recollection of, but I just forget what it was. It was so
Is
old.
it called like Air Beats or something? Like that,
Air Gear. There we go.
Air Gear. Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard
I think it's actually kind of similar to I haven't seen the anime, but I think it's also like they don't rollerblade. They use like air to roll. But
yeah, they all have
I haven't seen the
of they start putting their own twists on it, which I could see this game doing as well. So like for instance, if there's like a 6'4", 230-pound guy, his blades are going to be a little bit different in how they work because he's going to need a little bit more acceleration and torque to get going. Whereas someone who's smaller and maybe like a girl in junior high, hers are going to be a bit different and maybe be a little bit more flowy and aerodynamic.
And I think that's where the card aspect come into play is that maybe you're collecting the cards from these people to get their mods and then add it to your own. And then
Thank you for incorporating the card idea. Like I was honestly like, I didn't know I needed that itch scratched, but I was like, if they don't incorporate it here, I'm totally making a game down the road.
It's a cool addition. And when I said booster, I guess, I should have expected that to happen. But yeah, for the heavyset guy you gave an example for, you add his card into your slot and all of a sudden you're boosted. That's how you start getting vertical, where you get like more of a jetpack feel to it, where you go straight up in the air. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then maybe the lighter girl, it adds kind of like a
glide,
like a Kingdom Hearts Final Form drive mode, where you're just doing like aerial flips and stuff like that in the air instead.
Oh, she could be more like a figure skater type. So all of a sudden you get more acrobatic type movements.
Ooh, yeah. And then there's two things that I wanted to ask. Is it's open world, right? Or do we want it to be open world?
That's what I'm saying it as.
The way that I assume it's going to feel like is literally just the Los Santos downtown area from GTA 5.
Okay.
Like just a big city that you could just go explore. And that's just how I imagine it. But we could talk about maybe different areas and how it feels.
I'm kind of getting excited here too, because it feels like the players are going to be able to, like, we're all going to have different styles of play. Once we beat down enough bosses, we're going to be like, I like skating like this. Maybe someone else likes skating heavy. Other people like skating light.
It's like vert and there's vert and street. Yeah. And the other thing I was going to say is, do we want to kind of do it like Metroidvania Breath of the Wild style, where you can go to certain areas, but there is much more stricter police in those areas. But you get the rewards you get from it, the booster packs you can get from those areas are awesome.
Yeah. I like that idea. That's kind of like the difficulty or level gate scale that we will do, where the first open area is kind of like the first plains area from Breath of the Wild, where you could do all the basic stuff. You could go around and find some upgrades for your boosters. But then when you venture out from there, you start hitting, depending on which direction you go, you'll start hitting like much what is that? Much more difficult.
Sounds like Alka-Seltzer.
I don't know what that was.
So we had Alka-Seltzer in the game.
Is it me?
I don't know. It sounded like I I
It's
can't
like
even
grilling, I
describe that
think.
sound. Like maybe if you
Like,
poked a small hole in a balloon and started squirting the air out.
And maybe
Oh.
my puppy was crying. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Weird.
But yeah, so all the areas outside the original region have more and more difficult policing and security guards that you have to go past. But if you can get past them, like you said, you can get much cooler upgrades way sooner. And not to say that like all the upgrades are useless once you find these really cool ones. It's just the really cool ones are just really cool. You might want to still use a certain other one.
And I would also, if we're going that far, let's also make it where there's a couple of boosters in there who are so very skilled that you're going to have to get to a point in the game where you can follow them and challenge them. Like maybe they're just going about their own thing and they're just so good at whatever they do that in the beginning, there's nothing you can do. You can't catch up to them. You can't fight them. They're just that much more skilled than you.
Yeah. And maybe those
and
are
come
like,
into your squad.
Yeah, they'll become part of your squad. Maybe their booster packs or booster cards are like some of the strongest in the entire game to beat these particular people. And you have to use all your boost cards to beat them. Maybe another mechanic that we could do to add a variety of play is have you be able to switch or quickly swap between like maybe 2 or 3 different boosters at any time. And so you could always have 3 different boosters equipped and switch between them freely, so you could change your style on the go. But then it also gives different players different play styles depending on what cards they like best, or what the 3 they have equipped at any given time. You know what I mean? So you could switch between play styles on the go. Like, I think the easiest way we could start talking about, or the direction we could take this conversation now, is think about different booster packs that you could find. So like, one that I'm thinking about creating, I don't know how this will work in the game world, is someone that could do like wall jumps, like a quick jump to jump between walls. And so you could get around areas faster, like in a zigzag motion. Maybe that will help you. I don't know why that would help. Maybe that's a
wall jumps, definitely. That way you could parkour differently. So maybe if there's like fences or anything, you can wall jump, gain height, and then hop over the fence instead of doing a vert and go up that way.
Yeah, much more verticality in it all. The other thing I want to probably add is maybe like a social network of these boosters where you start out from 0. And you see this person at the top, you're like, I want to be like this person, and eventually you get them in your squad and you're collaborating with them and you can build your community in the game, you know, like itself. Like you keep track of your followers, you have comments like, you do this better, or like feedback, you know, like
maybe we could even have it where like this. Okay, I just had a inspiration idea or whatever. Maybe one of the collectibles, quote unquote, in the game is that there's special like trick spots, right? That we just put all around the map, and they have it's kind of like the gap challenges in Tony Hawk. So there's a point A and point B, or maybe there's a point A, B, and even a C. And we put obviously the map design, we're gonna have to hire the most genius of map designers, but each of these are going to have a map design where you have multiple ways to creatively get from point A to B. And when you do it on that social network thing that you were talking about, Nick, a video automatically records whatever run that you do on that, and then you could watch the replay of your run, maybe on like a GoPro version on your head or something, and then like fisheye
lens.
Yeah,
almost. I would,
and then like there would be like comments that go on, and then it'd be like the Spider-Man, the PS4 Spider-Man Twitter thing where there was just random comments on these videos. But it's like a way.
It's that dynamic storytelling in that game that your actions are doing stuff to people in the game.
Right. And of course, we could have like a quick share option if you wanted to upload that particular video to Twitter in real life as well. You could also do that super easy. And I think that would be a cool little addition.
This makes my head go even like kind of start coming up with ideas where part of the social network, maybe you'll get challenges where you'll have to do the longest run without touching the floor, or the highest air, or the
Right.
most hang time. And when you do that, you can unlock different customizable boosters in the sense that you'll now have a style. Maybe there'll be 4 wheels, or it'll be 2 in front, 2 in back, different inlines, or different ways that it'll look, just customizable options and styles.
Oh, you just gave me another idea where like maybe some booster packs that you find are purely cosmetic. And so that way you could add more cards to collect. And maybe like this one person, she worked really hard on making her boosters glow like blue whenever you use them. And so when you put hers in, every time you use your moves now, blue light shines out of the boosters, right?
Oh, okay.
Or maybe one dude's like, I added these things to like make mine spark. And so every time that person uses their boosters, they have like a cool spark thing that comes out. And then that's how we could like do that combination thing where maybe you could combine different cosmetic booster packs or booster cards to like change the way you look when you're doing these,
that'd be dope. Yeah, so then eventually you
challenges.
can get to the point where like if you're doing like the big guy and you're doing a boost vert up, you can combine it where all of a sudden maybe flames are coming out as you're going up. So it's kind of like you're putting your own spin on it.
Right. And Alex, to expand on what you were saying about challenges that are sent, I know this is kind of, a lot of people don't like it when people add these kind of mechanics into the game, but I feel like it could be cool here where you add technically an online component where it's kind of like in Steep or in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, where you send out a challenge to the world and then like anyone could get it from wherever, or like even in Gravity Rush 2 or Mario Odyssey where there's the hide and seek
or
mechanic,
Hitman,
right? Or Hitman,
where they're like, okay, I did this, and this, follow it or do better.
Yeah, do better. Like, and then like you could send challenges that way. Maybe like we could even have it built in where it's like the challenge is to not touch the ground, but you kind of like in Mario Odyssey, it has to be from this point to this point. You can't touch the ground, and you have to do it in the most creative way possible. And you have to at least get in this general area to this general area in your own way.
Be cool with those online challenges as long as it's things that are already unlockable in the game through another means, but you can unlock like one of those players' loadouts. Like you can get one of his boosters if you do that. Like if it's
I almost want to go one step further too, and maybe integrate something like from the WWE games where you can kind of make your own tricks if you want, you know, like and submit and share them online with other people so people can see, oh, I did this, and this, and you can download those tricks so you can try them for yourself. And that breeds this community of like esports.
Yeah, now that's really smart because if people fall in love with the feel of this game, they're going to continue playing for that online component past the story. And maybe try to go after the more obscure boosters as they're trying to maybe make their tricks more elegant.
Yeah. What wasn't there a special trick creator in one of the Tony Hawks where you could kind of choose a pose and then like
you could make your own special trick for sure, where you could customize exactly what you want to do. Like if you want to do a black backflip into a twirl, or you want to do like a dark side grind, they'd let you kind of go and do that.
Yeah, so maybe we could do something like that, but somehow make it, maybe we could add like a somewhat of a creator mode, but it's specifically just to make your own booster tricks, I guess, where you could even like change, like maybe we could give like certain areas of the character model like string places, so you can move the elbow up here and move the hand up here, you know, and then you could like make certain tricks
like
that
points
way.
of articulation, like on a action figure.
Right, exactly. And then like you could press this button, and then if you press boost here, you could boost here, and then it'll spin you this way, type of thing. And then those are like maybe we could even just give them as you could make your own booster cards, right? And then like
that was the other thing I was gonna bring up is like you could share booster cards, and then it becomes more than just, it becomes a trading card game in the world and also in the game, you know, like that's man, it got so much deeper all of a sudden. So the booster cards, the way that we're gonna have to do this, if we are allowing the creation
of booster cards. Maybe what it is you could have maybe 10 or 12 equipped at any time. And maybe maybe 3 of those are movement boosters. They have to be movement boosters. And so it's like 1 to go vertical, 1 to go straight, and maybe 1 to like weigh you down or slow down or something like that. Right. And you could do any combination of 3. If you only want vertical boosters, you could do that if you want. Then maybe 2 or 3 of the slots are purely cosmetic. And then the rest of the 6 are the tricks that you could perform if you have those boosters in. And then those are hotkeyed in a certain way on the gamepad in whatever, maybe like an L1 circle, triangle, square X, or R, and then the other ones would be R1 circle, square. You know what I mean? So you could hotkey, but like, I don't know if you guys are understanding where I'm trying to get at, where it's the organization of the booster system.
No, yeah, like you're going to be a little bit more confined. That way, there's going to be strategy in it. I do want to talk about
that way. You could have so many different tricks equipped, but not have to worry about.
That way, it kind of limits the player so they don't get lost in how big it is, but also kind of lets them be creative because it puts like a little bit of a confine on them.
Yeah.
And maybe for the cosmetics is like we could do like something like Animal Crossing where you can share, like you can make your own logo and share your booster logo like on a shirt or on, you know, like a hat or something and make that.
So even extend it to clothing.
Yes. Like the cosmetic, that part of it, just like have it be a logo being put on a person.
Yeah.
So how are we going to find these booster cards? I want the common ones. I want it to be where if you want to get all of them, you can, and it's not going to be left up to RNG. But I also want it to be easily available in the beginning to find just a couple of the common ones and the uncommon ones. I'm thinking we can do gacha machines for a little bit for just the common and uncommon, and then vending machines that are a little bit higher price where you can just straight up buy them out if you want. So you can press your luck if you'd like, but there's always the machines here, and then you can always kind of go and unlock them too through tricks and through competition.
I kind of see where you're going with that, Alex, but I feel like it'd be more, at least for me, if I were to play this game, it'd be more fun if all the game-based boosters that aren't character created, you gain through either quests, NPC challenges, or like competitions, and maybe just found as a collectible in the world. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, you found this lost booster at the bottom of a really difficult spot to jump across. Maybe someone accidentally dropped their card and it just landed there or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I see where you're going with it. Yeah, it's
like
just
randomly spread, and then some from challenges, some from other NPCs, and some from, you could like enter a tournament for like the fastest around this racetrack or something.
I definitely see that, and I like that idea better, but there has to be vending machines because where'd all these people get these cards? Like that's the only point is I feel like the world has to at least have some kind of store or some.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know. Just finishing my thought that they got to get them from somewhere.
See, I think almost the boosters are the ones who are creating these cards.
Right.
And they're their card, like the in-game boosters are the ones that are creating these cards, and the people at the top are like, oh, I want this person's card. So that's why you want the followers, so you're getting the followers and getting their card.
Yeah, maybe
that's
like you're getting their recognition.
Like Borderlands here, where the different boosters, maybe there's like a little bit of a faction thing here where they create different styles.
That's cool. That'd be really cool. Yeah. Okay. So I want to say something before I go full circle, but maybe everyone is creating their own cards, right? And so that even leads to making sense of how you're getting real life created cards by people that maybe there's like a weird network thing where we could like take a page out of Watch Our Legion's book where everyone's pretty much a character, and then like I don't want to add like an online hub world where you could see other people flying around. We can do that, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 way.
I personally don't like online hub worlds. They're laggy. People come in and out. Everyone's kind of clipping through.
I would say if we wanted to do something like that, we could have a mode where we turn on like ghost mode, where you can see what other people are doing. Maybe
something
I like that. Maybe you can see people's runs, where you could see a ghost. That way you can chase after them.
And then maybe like that. What I'm saying is that kind of plays into all the boosters making their own cards, right? And so even real life people are making their own cards and trading them throughout the world or whatever. And that's how you get character created boosters. But I did want to go full circle back to the beginning of the entire conversation with the story of this game, where at first we were talking about you are the inventor of this. Maybe what it is boosters have already been in the world for a while. Yeah. In like an underground street way, where all these kids are finding new ways to make this sport more fun, right? And you are a kid who has always loved the idea of boosting, and so you finally made your own personal set, and that's where the game starts. You finally made your own first set, and you're ready to go out there and meet other boosters, right? And eventually, as the game goes on, I think the idea is that these corporations that own these security and tech companies in this universe are starting to adapt these kids' boosters and put them into whatever corporation way they want to use these boosters, right? And then that's when you start seeing, as you play the game more and more, you start seeing like branded boosters from these other companies that are trying to get into the game, but they're doing it kind of in a corrupt way where they're stealing boosters from these kids, right? To find out how they're doing it. And then that's where you'll get like these boosters from Boosterz or whatever, right? And like that company started making these halfway through the story plot when you're like, I probably shouldn't support these guys because they're kidnapping dudes' equipment and stuff to make it, but these booster cards are pretty fucking cool. Like that type of thing, you know?
Right. Well, and like in a corporate way, like the corporations are just trying to make booster cards for the kids to buy. They see these kids buying booster cards and they're like, oh, they're going to want this and this theme because we have the money to invest in cool looking cards. Yeah. So then there are some kids who are like, oh, I really like this. And you have to be like, hey, like you're supporting this bad thing. Like, I just want to let you, and then you bring them to your squad.
Right. Right. And then maybe there could be kind of like a, that way we could add kind of like a faction war thing. Maybe the idea is that you're clearing out different portions of the city that kind of have people who are loyal to a certain brand or something. And then you could be like, hey, man, I just found out that they're doing this shady stuff. Like maybe you,
or you take over that part of the city and you turn them to your faction. So all of a sudden they're using kind of your brand of booster.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of like you're infiltrating these places, and then that's how you get that company's boosters. So maybe in their city, they have multiple headquarters that you could go in and infiltrate. And then when you infiltrate them at the end of it, you get like 2 or 3 booster cards, right? And as you take these places over, you start, your people, your followers start hanging out there. And then maybe at the end of the game, you finally open up one giant booster. You build your own corporation essentially, but it's like for
it's like
everyone,
nonprofit maybe.
Yeah, it's like we just a little, made this so everyone could have fun.
It's a startup that blew up, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like sounds really cool, but we keep talking about these boosters. The thing is, what is making them different? Like I like the idea that we mentioned where you have the trick boosters and you have the cosmetic boosters, but what's going to make the gameplay are the type of boosters that you're going to do. So like exactly how is it, what's the different ones? Like, do you guys have any ideas?
Can I go off? Yeah.
Go for
it. First, yeah, definitely do it.
So first off, you're going to do one where there's going to be a spin that increases your speed in the air. So all of a sudden you're going to be able to accelerate in the air, which you couldn't do before. It's going to make it so you have different options. Another one is going to be the air booster, where depending on how long you hold it while on the ground, it's going to send you up higher in the air. You talked about the wall jumping booster. I think if you click and hit the wall at just the right time and hit the button, it's going to give you a little bit of a speed boost and a higher jump. There's more too if you want. I was thinking I already created like an enemy where there's like an old guy with a cane and he has a third booster on the cane where he could kind of go faster using that, or can do a pivot where all of a sudden he can turn at a right angle and go somewhere else.
Kind of like a barrel roll mechanic move where you could slightly move to the left or right to do more fine tuning.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say for this particular boss, I think what we want to do is make the cane the rollerblade. So he's like hanging out on the cane and like it's kind of automatic and it's like, what? That's not really boosting. You know what I mean?
Or maybe it could be kind of like Mary Poppins' umbrella, where it's just it just carries him around from place to place.
And it's like Roshi in Dragon Ball, where it's just like you think he's just like this like crotchety old man, and then he like breaks out and he can do handstands on the cane. He can do whatever like on the cane.
Obviously, my vision for this is kind of more lighthearted in terms of like art style and stuff, kind of like Sunset Overdrive. Is that the name of that game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of like that kind of art style where it's like very cartoony, but not realistic, but like it looks good.
I like that. Yeah, but I almost want more of I'm seeing more of a futuristic vibe here with a little bit of it's kind of reminding me like I want to see the reds, the blues, the purples of like a sunset Tokyo kind of look. Not in Tokyo per se, but you know what I'm talking about, where there's like pinks,
kind of like a San Francisco.
Yeah, I was just going to mention like a Big Six kind of look to it.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm picturing here now.
Big Hero 6, is that what that movie's called?
Yes.
I don't think it's called Big Six.
You're good. The Big Six coming this Friday.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Shoot, I was just about to say something.
So we were going from art style. Are we thinking about music?
That's what I was going to bring up, because I know you guys go game devs and all that.
Yeah.
But one, are we doing a score or are we doing a soundtrack? And if we're doing a soundtrack, who is on it?
I think it definitely has to be a soundtrack.
Yes.
I feel like it licensed music also mixed with original creations for this game.
Yeah.
Would be perfect. I see it very Tony Hawk-esque, where we add a little bit of hip-hop, a little bit of underground hip-hop, some punk, some pop-punk, some pop even, and just have a mixture of it all in there.
And what if when we do tricks, it's dynamic music, where it's like...
Yep, you read my mind. I was thinking about doing that. Like if it's the hip-hop, you'll have like a record scratch where it's like... as you're starting to like incorporate the boosts.
Yeah, right?
I just had a crazy idea. I like what you guys just said, but what if that particular mechanic and booster cards are all separate from... okay, hear me out.
Okay.
Think about if there is one cosmetic booster that you could find. It's in the world somewhere. It's one of the hardest, rarest cards to get in the game. Most players won't get it until late end game, but when you get it, you put it in, and like it switches up, kind of like Lucio from Overwatch, where once you put this in, it's like the whole music changes. It has its own score to it, and every single trick that you do from then on, if you have this cosmetic booster in, will do music effects to whatever you're listening to.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
I'm down with that. Yeah, change it up a little bit in the game. That's fine.
Like until then, you can't really do the record scratches and stuff. But maybe there are a collection of music boosters. Maybe there's like an experimental booster company that makes like these experimental boombox booster cards, and then there's like 4 of them. One of them is for hip hop. One of them is for like rock with like guitar solos. Every single time you do a trick, you hear like a different guitar solo for the trick and stuff like that.
And story wise, I want this to kind of almost be a person in the world that like just a small mom and pop shop where he's like, hey, I just really love music and I've been putting stuff together. Like he's a DJ or something. Maybe he's putting stuff together for when you boost.
Like maybe he's an NPC that you help in a quest line somewhere early on. And then later on, he has like, oh, I have these like cool music challenges that I'm putting up all over the world, and that's like the challenge you have to beat to get these cards or something.
So I'm imagining his rollerblades where he puts the boost in and then adds speakers. So in his is just like it's like a subwoofer kind of going off.
Right. And like each music booster has a different type of speaker or something like that.
And to go along with like the story of it and the idea of like his beats getting stolen, what if like there's bad people who are stealing his beats to make a corporate record and to make a corporate trick, basically, like people who are trying to work for the corporations to make money instead of make art, the art of the music. And that's what he does. It's like, it could be a side quest. Yeah. It could be a side quest of him, just like you finding out more about him. He's like, man, I love putting my beats out there, but people are stealing it and using it for bad things. And I don't really want that. Like, yeah. And he's just trying to rein it all in and be like, these are for the people. But at the same time, like, don't use my music for bad shit, you know?
Right. Most definitely. I think that's a good way to incorporate that. So yeah, essentially we'll have music from most genres, especially like what you would normally hear in a Tony Hawk soundtrack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
So we're definitely hearing some like Green Day. We're maybe hearing some like Run the Jewels.
I was going to say Run the Jewels, but I was kind of holding back. Yeah, I was gonna say definitely Run the Jewels because it's anti-oppression, but still has that vibe of like chill and like. If that's the case, really that'll be like the hip hop kind of higher beats, and there's gonna be Rage then.
Oh, you have to have Rage. You have to have Rage Against the Machine for sure.
I'm thinking. I don't know if you guys even know who this is, but shout out to Hobo Johnson. He'd be an interesting.
Oh, I know Hobo Johnson.
He'd be an interesting person to toss into the soundtrack. All right.
Yeah.
But let's talk about pricing. How much do you think this game's going to cost?
$59.99.
Yeah, $60.
Yeah, it's definitely $60, especially when you have that dynamic trick music. That's going to cost a lot of money. That's some Kojima shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
maybe we could even add like a kind of like a small booster pack DLC or whatever, and where we'll add even more crazier cosmetics and also maybe different ways to move your character, like a new character creation trick thing where we create new tricks and also give character or creators new tools to make different types of cards as well.
I could totally see that too. Like maybe over summer vacation, you go to another town and then they're just doing boosting totally different out there.
Oh, like add a story mode to it and like add a whole new area.
Yeah, like it's a different town with a kind of a little bit different landscape. So they're just putting their own spin on it.
Or
what if the booster packs have seasons? Like this season of the booster pack.
Oh, that's cool. And I was I don't know if you're going this way with the seasons, but I was kind of going in the direction of what if each booster pack, I guess that's what we're going to call the DLCs from now on. Each booster pack that come out will add a new small little map section that is just an attachment to the already existing map. Like it'll just all of a sudden open up. Maybe in the original vanilla game, there's like coming soon, under construction, pardon our dust type signs in corners.
Yeah.
And at first it's just like, oh, it kind of just looks like it's just that part of the city is just under construction. Right. But then eventually they'll open up once we open up these new booster packs. And some of them, like the first one, let's say we release this game in, I don't know how seasons work, in spring, right? And then the first booster pack that we release is the summer booster pack. And all of a sudden you're doing like, you're on water. And like, it's more like water skiing and you're boosting through like different, like a water park that opens up 4 boosters. Like you've already beaten the game. So now there's a water park open specifically just for boosters to go and have fun in this water park. And then you can add cool water cosmetic effects and like different way, like water slides that you could boost and do like spins and like corkscrews in and stuff like that.
I definitely think the map part should just be an update, and then we can add the like a battle pass booster. Yeah, like almost like have it be like, okay, here's the battle pass or whatever booster pass. We're gonna call it the booster pass, and we're like what. You have to earn these still in game, but you have it, for the month. You just have to do it in the month, and it'll keep people playing. It'll keep people wanting to keep like, oh, I just heard that like Fortnite, like with Fortnite, it's just like, oh, like we're surrounded by water right now. It's every season's different, and like like almost have contextualized story beats. Like not necessarily, we don't necessarily have to have cinematic cutscenes, but also have like just like stuff happening in the world, and like you can find collectibles of what's happening, what is going on, and then we could incorporate that into the sequel if we wanted to do that.
Man, that'd be crazy too. But like maybe so like what I'm also thinking is for the winter booster pack or booster season, maybe the entire city gets covered in snow, and it adds ramps where there weren't ramps, and they'll add like different things
like
to the
ice froze over in certain ways.
Exactly.
So you can grind on them.
And then maybe there's different mechanics in the winter too. Like maybe it's a little bit more slippery, and you have to almost use your boosts more than you do your actual blades themselves.
Or like maybe even equip different boosters that you would normally not use that often because they work better, or to the player they'll feel better in the snow than the original ones. And the only problem I see this is what if someone enjoys the winter boosters so much when it's over?
Right.
Maybe it could be like a toggle, or maybe we could do it like
I would almost want there to be like a little exploit where if you want to roll back the date on your PS3 or your console, you go ahead. It's cool.
PS3.
You know, if you want to progress
that's
the whole
console that
you
go back to. This game is coming exclusively to your PS3.
Yeah, right.
Did I say PS3?
Yeah, you did say
I'm
PS3.
just living in that era, I guess. I never stopped.
You have
this game
to get
feels very
new,
PS3-like.
Yeah, you have to get like a very big update for it, like just specifically, like only if you play the game. Like obviously you wouldn't get it, but you have to get this very big update just to be able to play it. And in fact, it like makes a new graphics processor in your PS3, but it's just for that game. That's the only game that takes advantage of it.
Also, real quick, just throwing this out there, we could also put in like maybe like a leaf surfing where it's like fall and then just have leaves everywhere, and then that's just more cosmetic stuff.
More cosmetic stuff. So when you grind or do tricks, leaves are coming out of your blades like as you're going. Like different leaves will fall out.
Obviously, holiday stuff like St. Patrick's Day, you could have like rainbow cosmetic stuff you could earn. Gold coins flying out of your boosters and stuff like that.
The other thing, if we're making this kind of not an online game, obviously, but a semi like updated game.
Yeah.
Do we want to? God, I lost my train of thought. Do we want to create? I lost it. I'm sorry.
No. I swear. I think I made it contagious. So
yeah, I think this episode is just us losing our trains of thoughts.
So we've got it here. We've got it $60. We got the DLC then.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going in terms of like? So who's making this thing?
Well, before we get there, Alex, I think it's time to start your timer.
Oh, dude, we know the name of this game. I think we all do.
Do we?
Oh.
Hold on, let me get my timer out.
Yeah, get the timer out.
All right. So it's all right. Timer's ready and go. Booster, right? Boosterz?
Boosterz.
I mean,
yeah. Boosterz is the name.
Okay,
Boosterz
cool.
But Boosterz with a Z. Boosterz with a Z.
That works for me. That's
Boosterz.
0 seconds. I had a mind link with you guys, and I knew. I was just like, I'm sending it out there.
All right.
Yep.
Alex, would you mind giving us a small overview of Boosterz?
Welcome to Boosterz, the game, the anime, and toy line coming this fall. In Boosterz, you play as a kid who's moved to town and there's a new technology that's all the rage. Not only can it help you move around, but it also lets you express yourself. These different rollerblades now get upgraded with different cards, and kids as well as adults have taken off. There are now factions trying to take over the city and express themselves, as well as corporations vying into the game. Where will you go when you boost?
Oh, dude, doggy dog, let's go.
All right. So I think we have a game here. Nick, Alex, what do you think? Would this be a game you would want to play? And is it fun?
Oh, dude. I'm playing it in my mind, and absolutely, dude. Like, I love games like Tony Hawk. Like, I solely want Skate, and the fact that we made a game that's beyond Skate to where, like, there's an actual story involved. There's more than just skateboarding or like in this case rollerblading or boosting. I think that this is going to be an awesome game, especially with the themes what we're playing with.
Oh yeah, I'm in love with this IP. I already see cartoons coming to Netflix, original series. Like I'm seeing like this is going to go and expand.
I mean, this is everything I wish Steep was, and even more. Because Steep, great idea. Just the game was kind of boring. This I don't see any downtime where you're just picking in Steep. You have to pick the mountaintop that you're going to start at. In this one, the entire city is your playground, and I think that's like the freaking slogan. Boosterz. The city is your playground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This game seems like it would be a blast. And I think it's gonna be, it can become, like a whole thing, like anime and all of that included.
Yeah.
This is the thing where like, it's like Beyblade, where kids wanted it to exist so much, there was some form of it that actually existed in real life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, now that we have a complete game, what game studio would you assign to make Boosterz the best?
I mean, it's Insomniac, right?
I mean, Insomniac would be amazing.
The entire time is what I was like. Like this could be like a spiritual successor to Sunset Overdrive and games like Jet Set Radio. I did like play around with the other like game studios. I also, with a lot of like the network of it, maybe we could just hire Kojima as a consultant.
You know what's really funny?
He always finds his way into our episodes.
Kojima is in every single one of our episodes.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
We're always like, what if?
Yeah.
Insomniac would be the obvious choice. Let me throw in the guys from... I guess they're just SIE Japan Studio, Project Siren and Bluepoint. I guess the team behind Gravity Rush is who I'm trying to get into.
Japan Studio, I think is
SIE Japan Studio is who created that game. And they also do have that network option in 2.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is kind of like the Mario Odyssey hide and seek balloon thing. And so they already have some experience in that. But I think, the guys that did Gravity Rush, they would take this game too.
Go ahead.
You guys may like think I'm coming out from left field, but I'm thinking, since I knew someone was going to take Insomniac, so I went for the second one. EA Black Box for me. If they could nail and they developed Skate 3. If they could nail the feeling of just getting that grind and the sound of the skates hitting and the boost, like if they could get that visceral sound along with glass breaking in The Last of Us 2, I think this would be the next satisfying thing to hear. As like you hear your skates like and you just like kind of get into the groove and you get into that flow state. I think it would make it so you wouldn't want to put it down ever.
The only problem I have with EA is that they would be solely tied to the Frostbite engine. All their games are solely tied to the Frostbite engine.
That is a negative side.
It might hinder our experience, especially if we have to put things like the dynamic soundtrack in it, and also the booster cards, and especially I don't necessarily trust EA with
booster
microtransactions. Exactly.
You're right.
And the art style would change drastically as well with the Frostbite and everything.
I think we would probably do it, but
I see where you guys are going. Most definitely.
My last addition in terms of game studios that I want to try to get to develop this game is Volition. Saints Row, Agents of Mayhem, specifically Agents of Mayhem, because it has the same kind of art style and feel. And with both Saints Row 4 and even Agents of Mayhem, they're used to high velocity, going all over a big city at like crazy speeds and doing crazy stunts while you're doing it. And they could do some interesting stuff.
They can definitely tackle the rebellion of the story.
Oh yeah.
Like I think that's the main thing that I'm like, like about. The only problem I have with Volition is the verticality, but it's just because they haven't been tasked with the ability to be able to do that verticality.
Yeah. And with that,
so
109th IP has gone gold. We hope you look forward to this experience. That will probably never release. You could write to @poundgames@gmail.com if you have anything to patch into the game we created today. Also, give us feedback. We are still learning how to make the show better, and your feedback really helps. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to back our ideas, please head over to patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. Patrons receive episodes 2 days early and an extra podcast at the beginning, which caught the tail end of our conversation at the beginning of this episode. That's patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. If you liked our show, why not subscribe and give us all the stars on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Spotify, YouTube, and more. And if they ask for a review, instead of reviewing our show, become your inner game critic and review Boosterz, the video game we just created. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Friday with another new IP. Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to give a little...
Thank you for having me.
Places they can find you, what you do, and all that?
First off, I want to say Boosterz is going to be Game of the Year someday. Whenever it gets made, it's going to be Game of the Year. I can't wait till we get it. Number 2, you can find me at youtube.com/ShotgunMcpayne, making Memory Lane Unscripted last Sunday of every month. And on twitch.tv/ShotgunMcpayne. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Monday is Animal Crossing Monday. Wednesday is Warzone Wednesday, and Free Play Friday is when we want to play whatever the heck we want. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter for all my other antics.
I love how you ease into Mondays with Animal Crossing.
I do, dude. You have to start with like a chill stream. Today, so I kind of I'm converting it to like a self-help Monday because I got Ring Fit.
Oh, hey.
Very nice.
And yeah, so I'm trying to like, okay, like I can help myself and stream, but I'm also like realizing in my room, like, because I do like have to run, everything shakes. So I'm like, do I want to do that?
Right. Well, there is the one where you could kind of, I don't know what it is, but there's a mode where you don't have to like jog.
There is silent mode. Yeah. I thought about that.
Well,
so yeah, it's been really fun. This has been really fun. I really like this podcast.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoy your video essays as well.
Thank you.
Hopefully
there's going to be a Last of Us one. I'm writing the script right now. There's themes. I'm so ready to talk about.
Are you doing both one and 2 in just one whole video?
Yeah. So depending on how long it is, I might split it into parts. So I might split the themes of one, and going into the overall arcing theme of the Last of Us story period.
That's cool, man. Well, again, my name's J.E.
And I'm Alex Gonzalez.
And
I'm Nick Blain, Shotgun McPayne.
Thank you. And please remember that we are not game devs. And also, we kind of just keep talking after this. So if you have anything else to add here, well, what's going on? How you doing?
Yeah. So are we recording this? Should I stop it?
We're recording. I mean,
sometimes it makes it, sometimes it doesn't. Is it
by
gold?
This point,
we don't know.
Fair enough.
They're not hearing it from here on, probably. I probably just cut it. So yeah, might as well just stop the recording now.